Good morning, everyone. Every day we wake up carrying the weight of yesterday, our mistakes, regrets and failures. We replay old conversations, dwell on missed opportunities, and let past disappointments shape how we see ourselves. But what if I told you that today, right now, you have the power to start fresh? The past is a powerful force. It shapes our memories, influences our beliefs, and often dictates how we see ourselves. We carry our experiences with us, sometimes as lessons, other times as burdens. When we reflect on our past mistakes, failures, or regrets, it's easy to believe that they are permanent marks on our identity. But the truth is, no matter what has happened before, the past does not define you. Many people allow their past to become a prison, locking themselves into a version of themselves that no longer serves them. Perhaps you've made mistakes, acted in ways you regret, or missed opportunities you now wish you had taken. These moments may feel like anchors dragging you down, reminding you of what you did wrong. But mistakes do not have the power to define who you are unless you let them. Growth is a continuous process, and no single moment in your past can determine your entire future. It's natural to dwell on the past, especially when our minds are wired to replay painful experiences in an attempt to avoid them in the future. However, when we become too fixated on what has already happened, we lose sight of what is possible. The present moment is the only time we can truly influence, and if we allow our past to dictate our actions today, we surrender our ability to change. Every second, we are given the opportunity to make a new choice, to think differently, and to act in ways that align with the person we want to become. There is a common misconception that our past defines our worth. People often carry shame or guilt over things they can no longer change, believing that these moments are proof of their inadequacy. But who you were yesterday does not have to be who you are today. Every person has the ability to grow, to evolve, and to move forward with greater wisdom. The past is not a life sentence, it is merely a collection of experiences that can serve as lessons rather than limitations. Consider the many stories of people who have reinvented themselves after immense failure or hardship. Some of the most successful individuals in history have faced tremendous setbacks, only to rise again with greater resilience. Their past did not define them. Their response to those past did. Whether it's an athlete who suffered career-ending injuries, an entrepreneur who faced bankruptcy, or a person who made terrible mistakes but found redemption, the common thread is that they did not allow their history to dictate their future. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that once you have failed, you are destined to continue failing. This mindset keeps people stuck, afraid to take risks or embrace change because they assume the outcome will always be the same. But failure is not a reflection of your potential, it is merely evidence that you tried. Each mistake carries a lesson, and if you are willing to learn from it, you will not repeat it in the same way. Mistakes only become defining when we allow them to be the final chapter, rather than a stepping stone to growth. Often people struggle to move on from their past because they are weighed down by the opinions of others. Society tends to label people based on their history, reducing them to a single event or choice. But other people's perceptions do not dictate your worth. You do not have to be the person they believe you to be. Your actions today, your mindset, and your willingness to change hold far more power than any label imposed upon you. Forgiveness, both of yourself and others, plays a crucial role in breaking free from the past. Holding on to resentment, regret, or guilt only keeps you tethered to what has already happened. Letting go does not mean forgetting, it means acknowledging what has occurred, learning from it, and choosing to move forward without carrying its weight. It is a conscious decision to release the grip of past mistakes and embrace the possibility of a different future. Growth requires acceptance. Accept that the past is unchangeable, but also recognize that you are not the same person you were when those events took place. Life is a constant process of learning, adapting, and transforming. The person you are today has the power to make choices that align with a new path, no matter what came before. The idea that the past defines you is an illusion. It is a story that can be rewritten at any moment. Who you are is determined not by where you have been, but by what you choose to do now. The past is a chapter, not the entire book. And every day you have the opportunity to turn the page. The present moment is the only thing that truly exists. The past is a memory, a collection of moments that have already faded into time, and the future is an illusion, a place that exists only in our thoughts and expectations. Yet people spend so much of their lives dwelling on what has been or worrying about what is to come, often forgetting that the only time they can ever truly experience and influence is now. The present is where life happens. It is the space where choices are made, where actions take place, and where change is possible. Many people are trapped in the past, replaying old conversations, regretting missed opportunities, and carrying the weight of past mistakes. While memories can offer valuable lessons, they should not dictate how we live today. The past, no matter how significant, is beyond our control. Nothing we do now can alter what has already happened. People often allow their past to shape their identity, convincing themselves that they are bound by the mistakes they have made or the circumstances they have endured. But if the past cannot be changed, then it does not have the power to define the present unless we give it that power. The only thing that matters is what we do now. Likewise, the future is uncertain. We can plan, hope, and prepare, but no amount of worrying will give us control over what has not yet happened. People often live in fear of the unknown, anxious about what might go wrong, or they postpone happiness, telling themselves they will truly live once they achieve a certain goal, find the right opportunity, or reach a specific milestone. But the future is never guaranteed. Waiting for the right time to be happy, to take action, or to pursue a dream often leads to a life of endless waiting. The only time to live, to act, and to be is now. One of the greatest sources of suffering comes from resisting the present moment. People resist what is, wishing things were different, longing for a different reality than the one they are currently experiencing. This resistance creates stress, frustration, and unhappiness. But when we accept the present as it is, without judgment or complaint, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Acceptance does not mean passivity, it means recognizing reality for what it is and choosing how to respond to it. When we stop fighting the present and embrace it fully, we gain clarity and the ability to make better decisions. The present moment is the only place where we have power. It is the only space in which we can take action, make a choice, or change our perspective. If we focus too much on the past, we lose sight of the opportunities that are in front of us. If we obsess over the future, we fail to see the beauty and possibilities that exist right now. Every great achievement, every meaningful experience, and every moment of true joy happens in the present. The more we immerse ourselves in it, the richer and more fulfilling life becomes. People often search for happiness in external achievements, thinking they will finally be content once they reach a certain level of success, find the perfect relationship, or acquire something they desire. But true happiness is not something that exists in the future, it is something that can only be experienced in the present. If we are constantly chasing the next thing, we miss the joy that is available to us right now. Gratitude for the present moment, for the simple things that make life meaningful, is one of the most powerful ways to cultivate happiness. Living in the present does not mean ignoring the past or neglecting the future. It means acknowledging them without being controlled by them. The past has already happened, and the future is yet to come, but right now, in this moment, you have the ability to think, act, and shape your life. Every breath, every step, every decision takes place in the now. When we learn to embrace it fully, we discover that life is not something that will happen someday, it is happening now, and it is ours to experience. Mistakes are often seen as failures, as moments of weakness or evidence of inadequacy. People fear making mistakes because they believe errors define them, marking them as incapable or unworthy. However, mistakes are not the end of the road, they are opportunities for growth. Every mistake carries a lesson, a chance to understand something better, to improve and to develop resilience. The way we respond to our mistakes determines whether they hold us back or push us forward. Mistakes are inevitable. No one goes through life without making them, and no one reaches success without first stumbling. They are a natural part of learning, a necessary step in gaining wisdom and experience. The most skilled individuals, whether in art, business, sports, or science, have all made countless mistakes. Their success did not come from avoiding failure, but from using those failures as stepping stones. Every time we make a mistake, we are given the opportunity to analyze what went wrong, adjust our approach, and try again with greater knowledge. Growth comes from discomfort, from stepping outside of what is familiar and attempting something new. Mistakes are proof that we are pushing ourselves beyond our current limits. If we never make mistakes, it means we are not challenging ourselves enough. Playing it safe might prevent failure, but it also prevents progress. Mistakes are a sign of effort, of courage, of a willingness to take risks in pursuit of something greater. They are not something to be ashamed of, but something to embrace. Fear of making mistakes often holds people back from trying new things. They worry about looking foolish, about being judged, or about failing in front of others. This fear can be paralyzing, keeping them stuck in the same place, afraid to take the steps necessary for growth. But avoiding mistakes does not mean avoiding failure, it means avoiding learning. When people allow fear to dictate their actions, they miss out on opportunities to improve and evolve. The reality is that mistakes are not the problem, our perception of them is. If we view mistakes as proof of failure, they become barriers. If we see them as opportunities to learn, they become the path forward. Some of the greatest discoveries and inventions in history have come from mistakes. Scientists, inventors, and creators often stumble upon breakthroughs not because they got everything right the first time, but because they failed and learned from those failures. Each mistake led them to refine their approach, to adjust their methods, and to eventually succeed in ways they never could have imagined. Mistakes, when viewed correctly, do not close doors, they open new possibilities. Self-compassion is essential in embracing mistakes as opportunities for growth. Many people are their own harshest critics, replaying their failures in their minds and punishing themselves for not being perfect. But growth does not come from self-condemnation, it comes from self-reflection. Instead of seeing a mistake as a personal flaw, it should be seen as a moment of learning. Being kind to oneself in the face of failure allows for the space to improve without the burden of shame. Mistakes do not mean we are unworthy or incapable, they mean we are learning, just like everyone else. The ability to learn from mistakes requires humility. It requires setting aside pride and acknowledging that there is always room for improvement. It means taking responsibility for errors without allowing them to define self-worth. Some people resist admitting their mistakes because they fear it makes them look weak, but in reality, the strongest people are those who can recognize their shortcomings and take steps to correct them. True growth happens when we stop making excuses and start making changes. Mistakes also teach resilience. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are unavoidable. Those who learn to see mistakes as opportunities develop the ability to adapt, to recover from failure, and to keep moving forward despite difficulties. This resilience is what separates those who succeed from those who give up. The ability to face mistakes head-on, to learn from them, and to continue striving toward improvement is what leads to true progress. Every mistake carries a lesson, but it is up to the individual to extract that lesson. Some people allow mistakes to defeat them, using them as reasons to stop trying. Others see them as valuable experiences that contribute to growth. The difference is in perspective. When mistakes are seen as teachers rather than obstacles, they become powerful tools for personal development. They remind us that perfection is an illusion, and that real progress comes from the willingness to try, fail, and try again with greater wisdom. Hardship is an unavoidable part of life. No one is exempt from difficulties, pain, or setbacks. At some point, everyone will face challenges, whether in the form of loss, failure, disappointment, or unexpected struggles. These moments can be overwhelming, making it seem as though the weight of adversity is too much to bear. However, while hardship is inevitable, the way we respond to it is within our control. Our response to life's difficulties determines whether we are broken by them or strengthened through them. Many people see hardship as an unfair burden, something that happens to them without reason. They resist it, wishing things were different, longing for an easier path. But resistance does not change reality, it only prolongs suffering. Hardship itself is not what defines a person, it is their attitude and actions in the face of it that truly matter. Two people can experience the same struggle, but one may emerge stronger while the other becomes consumed by bitterness. The difference is in how they choose to respond. Difficulties have the power to shape and refine us. Every challenge we face presents an opportunity to develop resilience, patience, and wisdom. Struggles push us beyond our comfort zones, forcing us to adapt and grow in ways we never would have otherwise. They reveal what we are truly capable of and teach us lessons that comfort and ease never could. Pain and adversity strip away illusions and force us to confront our inner strength. They remind us that we are not as fragile as we sometimes believe. When hardship arrives, it is easy to feel powerless. It may seem as though life is out of control, that external forces dictate our fate. But even in the most difficult circumstances, there is always something within our control: our mindset, our actions, and our attitude. No one can take away our ability to choose how we respond. Even when we cannot change our circumstances, we can change how we approach them. A situation that seems unbearable can be made lighter by the way we think about it. Perspective is key in handling hardship. If we see difficulties as meaningless suffering, they will feel like nothing but punishment. But if we view them as challenges to overcome, as opportunities for growth, they take on a different meaning. Hardship becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" That shift in mindset transforms strength into strength. People who have faced the greatest hardships often develop the deepest sense of resilience. They learn to endure, to persist, and to rebuild. Their struggles do not make them weaker, they forge them into stronger individuals. They come to understand that while they cannot always control what happens, they can control how they carry their burdens. The ability to remain steady in the face of difficulty, to keep moving forward despite the weight of hardship, is one of the greatest forms of power a person can possess. Hardship also has the ability to change our perspective on life. It strips away the unnecessary and highlights what truly matters. Difficult times remind us of our priorities, helping us see what is valuable and what is not. They teach us gratitude, showing us that even in pain, there are still things to appreciate. The strength gained through hardship is not just about survival, it is about transformation. Each struggle offers a chance to emerge wiser, more compassionate, and more prepared for whatever comes next. Suffering is an unavoidable part of the human experience, but defeat is not. We may not be able to prevent difficulties from arising, but we can choose to face them with courage. Every hardship is an opportunity to rise, to prove to ourselves that we are capable of enduring and overcoming. Hardship is inevitable, but in our response lies our greatest power. Starting fresh is a decision that belongs to you alone. There is no need to wait for the right moment, for approval from others, or for some external sign that tells you it is time. Too often, people hold themselves back from making changes in their lives because they feel they need permission. They wait for circumstances to align perfectly, for someone to validate their decision, or for a sense of certainty that may never come. But the truth is, the only thing required to start fresh is the willingness to do so. Many people remain stuck in situations that no longer serve them because they believe they are not allowed to move forward. They carry the weight of past mistakes, bad decisions, or regrets, believing they must first undo the past before they can begin again. But the past cannot be changed, and it does not need to be erased in order for a new beginning to be possible. Every day, every moment, offers a chance to make a different choice. There is no rule that says you must continue down the same path simply because you have walked it for a long time. Change can feel daunting, especially when others have expectations of who you are and what you should do. Family, friends, and society may try to define you based on your past, making it seem as though starting over is not an option. But no one else has the authority to dictate your growth. You do not need to explain or justify your decision to anyone. What matters is that you recognize your own ability to choose a new path. People may resist change, but their opinions do not control your life. Fear is often what keeps people from taking the first step. The fear of failure, of judgment, or of the unknown can create the illusion that starting fresh is not possible. But fear is not a reason to stay in the same place. Every change carries uncertainty, but uncertainty is not a sign that you should remain where you are. Growth requires stepping into the unknown, trusting that the future holds possibilities you cannot yet see. No one has everything figured out before they begin. The only way to gain clarity is by moving forward. People sometimes wait for permission because they feel they must earn the right to start over. They believe they need to prove themselves first, to become perfect, or to wait for a sign that they are ready. But starting fresh is not something that must be earned. It is a choice that is available to everyone at any time. You do not need to be perfect to begin again. You do not need to know exactly where you are going. You only need to take the first step and trust that clarity will come as you move forward. The ability to start fresh is one of the most powerful freedoms we have. Life is not meant to be lived in the shadows of past decisions or mistakes. Growth is a continuous process, and no single moment defines who you are forever. Each day is an opportunity to rewrite your story, to choose a new direction, to become the person you want to be. There is no need to wait for approval, no need for someone else to say it is okay. The power to start fresh is already in your hands. Change is something many people desire, but few truly achieve. They dream of a better life, of personal growth, of new opportunities. Yet they remain stuck in the same routines, waiting for something to happen. The truth is, change does not come from wishing, hoping, or even planning. It comes from action. No matter how much knowledge one has or how many ideas they develop, without action, nothing will ever shift. Action is the bridge between where a person is and where they want to be. It is the force that turns potential into reality. Many people believe that before they can act, they must first feel ready. They wait for the perfect moment, the right mindset, or a sense of certainty before they take the first step. But waiting for readiness often leads to inaction. Change does not happen when everything feels comfortable. It happens when a person decides to move forward despite uncertainty. The most successful individuals do not wait for the ideal circumstances, they create them through their actions. The first step is often the hardest, but it is also the most important. Fear is one of the biggest obstacles to action. People fear failure, rejection, and the unknown. They hesitate because they are unsure of the outcome, afraid they will make mistakes or face setbacks. But growth requires stepping into discomfort. Fear will always be present when pursuing something new, but it does not have to control the outcome. Action is the antidote to fear. The more a person takes action, the more they prove to themselves that they are capable of handling challenges. Confidence is not something that comes before action. It is built through action. Clarity also comes through action. Many people believe they need to have everything figured out before they begin. They feel they must have a perfect plan and a clear vision of the end result. However, the path to change is often revealed through movement. Taking the first step, even without knowing the full journey, provides insight and direction. Experience teaches lessons that no amount of thinking or planning can. Progress is made by adjusting along the way, learning from mistakes and refining one's approach as new information becomes available. Action is the key to breaking old patterns. Many people want change but continue engaging in the same habits and routines that have kept them stuck. They tell themselves they will start tomorrow, next week, or when they feel more prepared. But nothing changes if nothing changes. A person cannot expect different results while continuing the same behaviors. Taking action means making conscious choices to do things differently, even when it feels difficult. Small steps consistently taken create momentum. Over time, these small changes lead to significant transformation. Excuses often stand in the way of action. People convince themselves they do not have enough time, resources, or talent to pursue their goals. They believe they are too old, too young, or too inexperienced. But action does not require perfect conditions, it requires a decision to start with what is available. There will always be obstacles, but those who take action find ways to work around them. Instead of waiting for ideal circumstances, they take responsibility for creating change with whatever tools they have. Failure is not a sign to stop, it is a natural part of the process. Many people avoid taking action because they fear failing, but failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of success. Every mistake, setback, or challenge provides valuable lessons. The most successful individuals are not those who never fail, but those who fail, learn, and continue moving forward. Taking action means accepting that failure is possible, but also understanding that each failure brings growth and improvement. Change requires consistency. Taking action once is not enough. Lasting change comes from repeated effort. Motivation may fade, but discipline keeps a person moving forward. Action is not about making one big leap, it is about committing to daily, intentional steps. Even small actions, when repeated over time, create massive results. Whether in personal development, career growth, or any other aspect of life, the key to transformation is continuous effort. The difference between those who achieve their goals and those who do not is simple action. Those who succeed are not necessarily the smartest, most talented, or luckiest. They are the ones who take action, even when it is difficult. They do not wait for permission, for the perfect time, or for complete certainty. They understand that the only way to create change is to take the first step and keep moving forward. Action is what turns dreams into reality, ideas into results, and potential into achievement. It is the true key to change. In the end, the difference between staying the same and transforming your life comes down to one thing: action. You do not need to have all the answers, and you do not need to wait for the perfect moment. The only way to create real change is to take that first step, no matter how small, and keep moving forward. Fear, doubt, and obstacles will always be present, but they lose their power when met with consistent effort. Every action you take brings you closer to the person you want to become and the life you want to live. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Your future is shaped by what you do today. Take action, and change will follow.